All right, so thank you all for watching the Furious Flower Facebook Live reading series. For those of you who don't know, the Furious Flower Poetry Center at James Madison University is the nation's oldest academic center dedicated to Black poetry. In the 25 years since the first Furious Flower Conference and the 15 years of the center's brick and mortar existence, Furious Flower programs have reached thousands of poets, educators, students, and poetry lovers around the world. From groundbreaking media and anthologies to summer seminars for educators and decade-defining conferences, Furious Flower has impacted literary communities on local, regional, national, and international levels by creating platforms for Black poets to encounter their readers and for readers to experience and engage with Black literary culture in new and exciting ways. So thank you to Lauren and everybody at Furious Flower for making this space and platform available for us poets to share. My name is A.H. Jerriod Avant. I am a native of Longtown, Mississippi. Um, I am currently working on a PhD in English lit here at the University of Rhode Island. Um, I'm going into my third year. Um, I I don't know. I haven't been, I guess, a poet as long as um, a lot of the people that I admire have been. I sort of came to poetry in my adulthood um, in undergrad, while I was in undergrad at Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. And so those people there in Jackson, those artists, um, circa 2013 to about 2003 to about 2007, um, this group of musicians, writers, dancers, um, rappers, MCs, like we were, I don't know, it was a nice incubator for artists there in Jackson, Mississippi, and that's sort of how I got, I guess, introduced to poetry or intrigued by it to the point that I would eventually try and write some of my own. Um, so I'm working on a first manuscript. I've published poems in journals, online journals, print journals, and they've um, and I think you can probably easily find a lot of them online. Um, I think you can obviously find the print versions in the journals that are printing journals. Um, so I'm gonna read for you all because that's why you all are here. Um, I'm gonna read some poems, maybe 25, 30 minutes of poems. Um, these poems are gonna, I guess, probably not probably. These poems are you're gonna hear a lot of, I guess, people's names. A lot of animals show up. Um, a lot of my work has to do with familial grief. A lot of it has to do with relationships between animals and humans. A lot of it has to do with sort of the world that Black people have to encounter once we leave our homes, um, and the danger that comes with that. So, without any further ado, um, I'm gonna read some of these poems. Missing person. Last time home, I saw a pair of shoes tucked into a corner, and it looked as if they hadn't been moved since he was here. The dust on them sacred and still, when I'm home, my mind labors in the dust. It's been 6 years, but I say it hasn't happened. Though the day persists, he's still tucked into a cloud, tucked into a tree, in the back of a long black car, and my throat won't let my heart through, no matter how flat my epiglottis falls. All about the day breaking is clean, so why this horror? A nightmare in my wake. A black silk blend pressed smooth, polstering silent emotion, boldly not a dent on him. We dare name this night with its sun out high, hanging by its hands, where the room was too small to be holding so much ache. Our worlds now captured by a piece of forest carved tightly, hinges now let us in or shut us out, but they failed to shut him in. A tree uprooted, the one I fell from, and I'm the only one to find him showing up in my day. Meetings, business trips scattered him, and I knew he'd be back, but not back so soon or in this form, and the way I am nervous about it all if I am losing it, and if he's gone, how is he here with me? The dining room table, an altar where we open all bodies, either give or take, how his form sits in cheer, naked torso, and you are to act as if his generous breasts aren't private parts. I don't see how I see what I'm seeing. My eyes shaping a silhouette of the man who raised me as the sun raises all of our sleepy shadows. What gives when two realms refuse to budge and won't make that sway completely to either world? Imagination is a long, worn leather belt spread around my only hope. This yearning for Pops to adjourn a meeting he's not in. Get home to build dinner around venison, a staple holding us full. The dates leading up I never get wrong. Their quick succession still stings. It seems I'm always in a reality I shouldn't be in. Somehow our home preserves certain fingerprints. I map them and become bored with the maps of this world. I would abandon one rim for another when I watch him swing into the driveway and watch him catch his breath from the day before exiting the vehicle. I watch him honk the horn before he's honking it. Passes me a crisp $50 bill because I'm there. Hands me baskets of new pecans and muscadines we'll use. I hear him telling me how I'm trying to split the log against the grain and how that'll wear me out the same way lying will. The same way alcohol will my liver, and not cleaning the yard will eat away at the lawnmower's blades. I got a theme for fumbling through couplets. I hear him asking have I talked to mama, and he knows I have, and what I'm about to say, how I'm knocking on the window of this other realm, begging to sing my confusion until he understands me. I'm 1,154 miles from home, farther from him, and still we continue this secret of running into each other. The title of this next poem is Strong As. As has one S. The bone of hinged jaws and clever thighs, as strong as good hearts and new skin, strong as asking, as consider is as strong as a verb, as listening is as strong as weakness, as strong as the ear in a fight with noise, as strong as why don't you shut up so we can hear, as strong as 666 cold preparation down the throat, strong as cockstrong Negroes, strong as life on a seesaw with death, strong as leaving is right after you came, strong as envious vibes and the language of the gut, strong as slam doors and memory, as strong as age is in the eyes, as strong as orgasms after months of being strong as virgins, as strong as raw onion is strong as doubt in the heart of the promised, strong as trunk thick back sticks and regretful wedges you gotta call a bigger man to move, so strong that man breaks, as strong as yearning dictates a nigga's direction, as strong as pseudo power in the mind of men, as strong as Kevlar is as strong as fear, is as strong as rock, as strong as harder rock, is as strong as faith without a face, as strong as mustard, as strong as refuse, is as strong as benevolence, as strong as lifting the lid off the closest place to hell in a cramped room, as strong as doing it all without a muscle strong enough in the mouth to lift its tongue to even name. What deer season means to me. In the house, there were always two white deep freezers packed pretty decent with red meat. Deer season, the hunters and the deer would satisfy, rent in season by meat if not by cash. It was May, I was 15, and we smelled 15 or so throughout the warm insides of the manhandled school bus. When Pops steers quick and clear to dodge the deer and Charlene yells, I didn't even know it was deer season. As if deer only lived so they could be killed during deer season. What's a deer outside of deer season, except a reason for deer season? How are we going? How are we doing? Everybody doing pretty good. Shenandoah Valley, Virginia is here. Oh, Roger Minor. Peace to you, brother, all the way from Philly. This is good. Hey, Keisha. All right, some more poems. This poem is titled Rocks. I guess these next two poems are about a late and beloved paternal uncle I loved so much. Rocks. You're given the vehicle to pull through curves of a road the county came to grade last week. And you're on your way to grab a man to live in your house who can't live in his own house, whose feeding tube allows him to eat through the houses he lives in. You think the full trip back with him and forth in a sway, wishing you were not this nephew behind this leather wheel. He braces himself for violent drugs the doctors are sure will weaken him. It looked like we gonna get some rain today, I say, with a trail of dust clouds and the gravel knocking beneath the truck. I wait for a phrase I can make out, or a word I can mold a question around, as cranial nerve 8 works to pull sentences from mere sounds. He commits to dialogue with a throat filled with rocks the oncologists say the oncologist can't move. A piggish disease, knotted throughout his pharynx that don't clean the way I've seen rocks clean in creeks. The Odo folk make a team of white coats you can't get on the phone. And I don't want to say I don't want to be here no matter its truth, no matter the sum of worry studying these days. I'm in too thick of a bond with disease, treading the loose gravel of a sharp bend, signaling into a difficult turn. We were being detained. Before the 36 of us could bless the food, he called us out of the names we resist leaving. Quick to accuse the room of rearranging to kill him when no one begged his fall. An impulse born in him to drag us flat across a floor we weren't on, and we embarrassed quietly, laugh and throw pillows to save necks from the corners of coffee tables. All the scared children, their urgent questions we wish we could unfold for them, rattle us. I want to vanish from this detainment, leave only this body in the room where the all-star pitcher who should have made it to the league can't control his saliva. None of this melts down before the wasp of stale entertainment. I say to my guests, let's just go fix our plates together. Too hungry to let him finish. The lips in the room too cold to be kissing. I wanted him to stop, but he wouldn't stop so bad. I wanted to see the night zipped up again, to kill what always happens to him, until what happens to him is cut out. If I may be frank, Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Hey, Lisa Taylor, Nadia, Oxford, Mississippi is in here. Mississippi is in here. If I may be frank, I am a ghost out of your control, back for some shit I can't even use. And my unlawful breathing is its own reward. The deep south brims with lost things and the stolen property and bodies of dead people. My chest be a graveyard of folk white folk wouldn't have buried. Best I can, I stay funked out in these southern spaces. Build homes on land white folks stole enough times they done forgot whose is what, and won't ask you to move to cause you to be gone. Their lip service to peace leaks ornery fumes of corpse-infused river water, pounded by hot rain, pig guts that barely drown out honeysuckle and the weighted branches of ripened peach trees. Wrinkled witnesses hide in rot and sit silent as pecan grows, foul as the blue news people tell with joy, blotched across a mob of white faces. Pride. Pride. Give me memories as slow to leave as snails. In foreign and perhaps fragile years, I'll still be able to recognize semen and expect the smoke. Champ's name causes no stress to fill the mouth. Quieter than fear or any of fear's cousins. Vernice takes 9 specific peels between spoons of grits and long sips of an instant coffee I love. Robert never told us he was ill, though surely he knew. I've seen knowledge eat large men alive over a summer. Muscadines on center stage as the native grape. The thick skin, the teeth pierce, breaks to pour sweetly across the tongue. Look how I hunger where there is no hunger. Look how Pops left before we thought he was done. Listen how the voice of a dead man can live. Pack me a bag I can fit in my heart. Have I done all the family stuff? I've done all the family stuff. Okay. Now we kind of go out into the world. With the last, I guess, half of this reading. How's everybody doing? Somebody said, preach. Roger said, preach now. Oh, man. No preaching. Okay. So now I'm sort of going out and encountering the world after having contemplated so much inside the home. All right. So Judith and Holofernes. And this poem is an ekphrastic on a painting by Kehinde Wiley, which is not the original Judith and Holofernes that you all might be familiar with, and some of you are probably familiar with Kehinde Wiley's version. But this is not an ekphrastic for Caravaggio's version or Gentileschi's version or none of those other painters' version, but Kehinde Wiley's. Judith and Holofernes. In the frame stood all that could be done. a dash of blood on a long and ready blade, a justice this particular day made late, one head without a body hanging from the other body, a sign to be read, not spoken, a wish to be wished and not had. The problem is, it is already done and up on the wall, and although it is there, happened and recorded, its broken chronology won't be mentioned. I am stuck in the contrast of garden and grave, all bloom, all wither, all pattern, and its sore disruption. Every aunt I have known, nails set to a dazzle, wears the sweet remix of Judith, blush to balance out the gore. The chain link wallpaper stares back at what seemed to be the only feeling left, a lie stuffed under our beds for our good. Who's the poor tyrant in our own Bethulia? Who's lured us into this hunting, spooked us into such a calamitous marriage? For the summer, I'm docked at a lake that the people don't attend. Machete on my hip to make a devil cough up blood, dust, and light. Hungry for ruins of an afternoon of anything, wild and willing to stick its neck through the roof of the leftover lake. I'm docked at a lake that ain't got no river, in a field that ain't got no fence, under a sun that ain't never heard of mercy. I'm docked at the edge of an unfortunate dinner next to a wet knot of cottonmouths, too big to see. Scared to hold the baby. The door wore a hopeful sign reading somebody gone was gonna be back later. Some universal late shit. An overworked endocrinologist claims a 30-minute call back, but don't ever call back. Laid down horny and fatigued in the bed with its cracked clocks, but not even these can drain the wild energy from my hands. Something says pull and throw these few bags of faith I have at a fat absence. I throw my motherfucking hands up. Plant these dead seeds in our bedrooms is wide and cold crotch fast enough to kill time. Let's see how many I got. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I got about 5 more poems. Thank you all so much for being here. Let's see who else is here. Jody Fagan. She said Jackie. What is it? Stop it. Joseph Ross. Thank you, Joseph. All right. All right. This is my wasp poem. I don't know how many of you all may live out in the sticks, but in Mississippi, where I grew up, we grew up out in the sticks, and during the summer, during the hottest months of the summer, wasps, red wasps, are really bad in the country, man. They'll post up anywhere. They'll put a nest in any little hole or crevice you can find. And so, a couple of summers ago, I was talking with a friend, and I was staring out the sliding glass door, looking at this congregation of red wasps. I don't know. Looking at this congregation of red wasps, and I started obviously thinking and pondering about these wasps and what it means to I don't know, kind of invade a home, but also what it means to kill, no matter how small the sort of thing is that you're killing. All right, so this is my WASP point. Police this Carolina. I avoid heat by choosing cooler sides of sliding glass doors. I am as untouchable as any ghost, cut off from the one who waits to prove its horrific lineage and name I reserve. The weather woman reports a heat index of 105 by noon, and beyond the reaches of ample light, 13 or 14 hang and stand post outside their home built onto our home. Hair-footed, they clutter above passageways. They red-bodied, black-winged, and deft. More precise than anything this mean breathing. And they itch to come ruin parts of our small country. Inverted, they lull in untroubled ways. And I want to feed them flakes of their own wings. I slide glass to neutralize the small but fast and fiery threat. I beg only corpses to outlast their living. Count the screwed bodies I've gathered with forefingers around the necks of toxic canisters. When the nest falls, I exhale until my cheeks balloon, in relief that I've left the nest too wet to continue to hang. I am the killer their house is unable to make, and I get away with a hot throne of shallow graves, dripping at the edges of my feet. Definitely in conversation with Nikki Giovanni's spider poem. I should probably just start saying Police is Carolina after Nikki Giovanni and the title of that spider poem. Yeah, that spider poem is so good. So good. The Haunting. A chance to aid his erections comes true in the street. A call about a thief on the Rover. A bad song begins to agitate wildly on the siren. Tires screech anxious on the pavement. A soda can still on the curb. Guns are drawn in the paws of the hunted who've seen a ghost they know they deserve. A lie about what was seen is printed in the paper. An empty-ass apology is mumbled at the press conference. A bag of pennies is sent to the family's home. Our weeping is leaking everywhere. A flaming birthday cake they spent good money for still must be cut. The little note they left. Before no one warranted your pleasure or approval, we had already filmed you being fed the corpse on loop on the news. Split the measly winnings and were off with your culture. We were afraid to address something can't name out loud. There was a bunch of lead in the air. And reporters are murdering what is left of your name. Ode to a pronoun. It hung around the air with wet hair and sweat. It told us we were not in the guts of a police jungle. It soon ain't gonna be no more bullets in the gun. It didn't vote. It knew what a motherfucker on the porch in a suit meant for them. It wouldn't pull up his pants. It studied it, danced it, thought it, and won it, and spoke it, ran and bled it, ran, and it is almost time for these hungry motherfuckers to eat. Two more poems, y'all. How we doing? Oh wow, Lillian is there. Hey Lillian. Thank you, Celia. I got two more poems. The last two poems. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Furious Flower, for doing this, for having all of us poets who've participated in the Furious Flower Facebook Live reading series. Two more poems, and we'll do some Q&A before we get out of here, before we say goodbye. Felonious states of adjectival excess featuring comparative and superlative forms. My mo favoriter and mo better is my most favoritist. It's most simpler this way. It's mo fluider, mo wetter, most hottest, cause the most beautifulest is mo beautifuler, mo meaner, mo flyer, and most flyest. Most shyer and the most shyest is more than more intelligenter than the panels is most ugliest and most selectivist. It's the most goodest. It's the most burntest. Is mo burnter. And mo unrulier is the most meekest, and even mo meeker is the most ownablest. Is mo purchasabler. And the most purchased thus becomes the most purchasablest at the sight of the most shiniest coins. My most funkiest is also my most stolenest, but the most stolenest can't ever be more funkier than the most oldest. The most thievingest be the most brokest, cause the most thieved from be the most oldest. So becomes the most richest, who also be the most fundedest. And that makes me the most confusedest. When I'm in the most keptest buildings that be more kepter than all the most time keeping his cats, they keep in the back upkeeping. All right, thank you all so much for being here. This has been fun. This is the last poem. Best believe will be gone. Best believe will be gone. Gone to eat, gone to debone unbothered necks of predators who don't suspect they'd ever fit the description of prey. Gone from your check cashing and gone just to go. Gone to work, gone to jam, gone to roll, and gone on to twerk. Gone searching and gone to fall. Gone from religion and gone from school to get school. Gone to meet the niggas who invented private school. Gone from getting stole. Gone from government blocks. Gone to meet violence with a brick other than those built by the minister's peace. Gone. Gone from being told what to tell folks shit. Gone from lifeless puppets and their puppeteers and strings so thick they choke like rope. Gone to snatch all the good shit you had stolen. Gone to discover a psalm and gone far too black for you to see. Gone to get the axe or another pretty ass blade. Gone and give us reason to do otherwise, or gone head on and get the fuck on. All right, that's my reading. Now I can see who all is in here. Thank you all so much for coming. Thanks for Lauren and the Furious Flower Poetry Center. So Lauren's got some questions for me to answer for you all. How did I first hear about Furious Flower? I first heard about Furious Flower This was 2013, 2014. The 2014 conference was about to happen, and I was in my first year at NYU, in the MFA program, and I didn't have money to go to Virginia. Um, but all the pictures and videos that were taken that were published online by either individuals or Furious Flower themselves, I made sure to sort of catch, and so I was sort of living vicariously through all of the media that was being shared surrounding the conference. It wasn't a lot, but the little that I saw, it made me feel good to know that Furious Flower was happening and that so many um, black people and black poets were gathering and fellowshipping and sharing that way. Um, what was my most dramatic encounter with a poem? I guess that first poem I read is probably my most dramatic encounter with a poem, because it literally involves seeing my father's ghost um, at the dinner table a few years, um, well, about 6 years after his passing, um, and not knowing what to sort of do with that experience for so long. Um, but I'm glad it. I mean, I'm excited that's been the most dramatic, because it's been fruitful and healing in a lot of ways. Name a poet you love that not enough people know about. Oh, name a poet you love that not enough people know about. Man, that's tough because I'm thinking about my friends. I'm thinking about me and my friends, and you know, um, like I never feel like I'm around people that sort of everybody knows. Like the people, like the poets who are my friends that I'm around, um, just kind of live reclusive lives. Um, like I'm an introvert, but I don't know a lot of my friends. But for the sake of this question, I'm gonna go with Bob Kaufman, who is or was well is a black a black male poet who was a part of the beat poets, the beat generation. Um, I like a lot of Bob's stuff, man. He's super surreal, cerebral. Um, he's having fun in the poems. Um, so Bob Kaufman, Bobkaufman, Bob Kaufman. Um, I love his work. He's got a song. He's got a book, something guitar. It's a really good book. Um, what books, poetry or otherwise, do you recommend for our present moment? Oh my God! I started. I don't know about poems, but I started reading Parable of the Saw of the Sawyer of the Sower, and one of my friends gets on me because I hadn't made it past I think day 2 or 3. Um, but so far, I go to it every now and then. It's it's super like now, um, apocalyptic. Um, people are suffering in a plethora of ways. People are suffering, but Octavius Butler's voice, um, it kind of hovers in a I don't know in a kind of comforting way, despite everything terrible that's sort of happening. So, Parable of the Sower, if you haven't read it. What are you reading now? Um, what am I reading now? I read a lot of different things at the same time. I I just got Monica Six's A Nail the Evening Hangs On. Um, Monica's a really good poet. This book is out from Copper Canyon Press. This is her first full manuscript. It's been really good. I have been reading. Oh, Fred Moten's All That Beauty, which is, I must say, the wildest of the Fred Moten books. Because I think in this one, it looks, in the inside, it looks a lot like the Field Trio, but at points it sounds like extremely academic, which is fun when you put it beside a lot of the, you know, African American vernacular English that Moten deploys. It's really fun to read. So I hope everybody had a good time, or enjoyed maybe a couple of the poems. Um, let's look at the chat box if there are any questions. Oh, we want to know your friends. Okay. Some of some of these poets that I'm thinking about, that I love, they are, um, I guess, for the Academy of American Poets, I'm curating 2 weeks in August 17th through the 28th. And a lot of these poets that I was thinking about that I admire, are in this list of poets that I'll be curating. So stay tuned. If you haven't signed up for maybe Poem a Day, sign up. They send a poem out every day of the week by a living poet and dead poets on the weekends, or poets who are no longer with us in the earthly realm. Um, um, and so a lot of the names that I was thinking of friends of mine who are poets are going to show up in that week. So please, keep an eye out for that. Thank you, Jody, for posting these links and texts. Cranial Guitar, that's the name of it. Yep. It's so good. It's so good. What Roderick Minor, what blues or jazz artists influence your writing? What poetry collections you find yourself constantly going back to as essential to your writing? Right here. I can't live without this guy. uh, I guess a lot of poets can't live without Amir Baraka. And I I immediately turned to Black Magic, this collection, Black Magic, because I don't know, I feel like he was his angriest in Black Magic. And I think being able to sort of harness and use anger and rage effectively is a skill. Um, it's kind of like, they say venomous snakes, like really small venomous snakes, are more dangerous than full grown venomous snakes, because those small snakes can't control how much venom they release when they bite. But a full adult snake, the older you get, the more control you sort of have over your venom. You can control it better. But, it's kind of like, Baraka keeps me from being a little snake with a lot of venom and not knowing what to do with it. So, yeah, Amiri Baraka. Jazz. A lot of Christian Scott, man. A lot of Christian Scott out of New Orleans. Trumpet, jazz. I love that dude. Gregory Porter's voice. Um, I would even say Rochelle Farrell's voice. But also Miles's trumpet. Miles Davis's trumpet. Um, Cannon Adderall. Um, yeah, that's good jazz. Thank you, 18. My 18 from Chicago, it says. That's crazy. Um, am I missing anything? Thank you for coming. Hip hop references and poetry. Describe how you fuse the two in your creative process. Hip hop references and poetry. Describe how you fuse the two in your creative process. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think, I don't know. hip hop references. I guess I'm I guess I'm not certain what you mean by hip hop references, um, but I think I think we can't say enough about how much hip hop is influenced by poetry, um, and I don't think we can say how much poetry is influenced by the music of hip hop, by the beat, by the sound. Um, I mean, much of my work is sound driven, as you can probably tell. Um, and so when sometimes I'm listening to a hip hop record that um, I don't know has a beat or a tempo um, that I'm trying to fuse with the piece of writing, and a lot of times I'll obsess over it. Like I have a song on repeat, regard like of any genre, but hip hop for sure. I have a song on repeat for weeks, and it'll be the only song I listen to, and and I'll do that until I get out of it what I need to get out of it, right? Um, so I don't know. I mean, hip hop references in poetry. I think that's the most obvious way that I fuse them in my work is the sound. Um, yeah, I think sound is paramount. Okay, are we Michelle Way? Oh yeah, Cedric Tillman said Michelle Farrell is way undermentioned. Man, I don't know anybody. I don't know a voice. Um, I don't know a voice that could out talent, outwork, outperform Rochelle Farrell's voice. Yo. It's a voice. She got so much range. Um, yeah, it's good. Rochelle Farrell. I can't explain that song. If you all haven't heard, I can't explain. Listen to Rochelle Farrell's I Can't Explain. There's a live recording of her at the Montreux Jazz Festival. Um, and she's sitting on stage playing this piano. She's singing it live, man. You'll love it. I hope you all look it up. But even the studio version, the album version of I Can't Explain it's a must, yo. So go for it. Any more? No more questions. Any more questions? Are we still? I guess I guess Jasia knows about Rochelle Farrell, right? Oh, how is the scholarly pursuit infusing the creative work? Hmm, good question. I think I guess most of my scholarly work has to do with issues of familial grief, and you may have heard um, some notes of this in some of the poems we heard in some of the poems that I read. And so I'm looking at the ways in which Black people deal with familial loss or familial grief. A lot of times we will begin the grieving process after we lose a loved one, and um, we don't always know what our grief is going to look like, how it's going to manifest. We may not even know that we're grieving when we're grieving. Um, and if I don't know that I'm grieving when I'm grieving, it's impossible for somebody, or it may be impossible for somebody else to recognize that I'm grieving, and so that grieving process gets interrupted, and so we don't get to sort of achieve the full or attain the full range of that grief. Um, and so much of my PhD work is concerned with sort of um, I guess investigating or digging at ways in which we can allow these full ranges of grief to manifest, so that we get to grieve properly, so that we don't get stuck in an anger phase, or don't get stuck in a denial phase. All those various stages of grief. And so hopefully, something comes out in the poems that will help us or illuminate something that would be worth sharing. What are scholarly? Thank you, Jody, for posting. Share for real, yo. Next book. I don't have a book. Well, I've got a manuscript I'm sending around. We'll see. I'm being patient about it. I don't feel like I'm in a rush to publish a first book of poems. I do want to publish a first book of poems, and so I'm just um, just sort of, I don't know, chipping away at the manuscript. It's always changing. I'm always sending out a different version. So one day, and I will let all of you know, because that's going to be exciting whenever it happens. Thank you, Joseph, for coming. Thanks for his flower. Yeah, thanks for his flower a lot, yo. Facts. Grief can kill us over and over and over again. Yeah, man, we don't get it out our body. I don't know. It's almost like cancer, and I hate cancer more than anything, because it's taken so many of our loved ones. Yeah. How are we on? Oh, we got about 6 minutes to hang out. If anybody got any other questions, or man, I like this little. I like the notes. So we got Bob Kaufman, Fred Moulton, Michelle Farrell. Oh, Megan, thank you. Can't wait to get your book on. Thank you. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Nadia, Vittorio, Joseph, Jody, Jesse, Cedric. No, thank you all so much, man. This was fun. I don't know. I'm probably gonna rest the rest of the day. That was a lot of talking. Read one more poem. Okay. um, One more poem. I'm gonna read another poem. Um, um, last poem is going to be. I'm gonna go with Animal Planet, because it's short, but it's not sweet. Um, all right, so last poem, Animal Planet. Thank you all for coming out. We'll close out after this. Um, Animal Planet. It could have been the stiff crack of bone or rapid gunfire. exploding bits of red in the air. 'Cause only for animals is it natural to marinate for hours in post-mortem under sun. The lions rip the gazelles of themselves. They know how sweet the blood is. Thank you all so much. That was the last poem. Thank you for coming, Lillian. This was so good. I'm glad everybody came and everybody enjoyed themselves. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Furious Flower. I'm beside myself. It's so cozy in here. I hope everybody's doing well and has all the things that they need. Hope everybody feels safe and loved on this Young Friday. Glad you enjoyed it, Debbie. Right on, Latoria, Faison. Yes. Yeah, and that is the last installment of Furious Flowers Facebook Live reading series for the summer. Thank you all for coming out. Yeah. Nobody wants to leave. I see. That's a good problem, I guess. But Furious Flower will have a fall Facebook Live reading series, and we will go listen. We will go listen to Rochelle for real now. But this fall, we're gonna be right back here listening to Furious Flower and the poets that it's gonna bring to programming for us. So thank you all. Listen to some Rochelle. Man, Rochelle for real. I'm really about to go listen to some Rochelle for real right now. All right. See you all. Thanks for coming. Wild Kingdom meets poetry. Yes.